Okay. Testing. Okay. Okay. I did. Right. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to give it a couple minutes, wait for some more people to join in case people are late. So just hang tight and we'll get started soon. Hello, everyone. My name is Dominic. I'm the VP of Operations at Control Central. We have a great presentation for you. We have Matt Ingold from the Ritchie Engineering Company. He is going to talk about all of his YJACK connected devices, including the Titan Manifold and everything that goes with all those connected devices. A couple things, we are going to leave you muted during the presentation. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat, and Matt will answer them at the end of the presentation. Without further ado, I'm going to give you Matt Ingold, and he's going to present all the YJACK stuff.
Thank you, Dominic. My name is Matt Ingold, and I want to thank the whole Control Central team as well. I'm going to attempt to share my screen right now. Ricky, I'm sure you're there. I don't see where I share my screen on this GoToWebinar tab. We're just pulling up the presentation. We appreciate everybody's patience. Thank you very much.
We seem to be having technical difficulties. Just give us a couple minutes, and Matt will be right on.
I'm not going anywhere, people. As soon as we get the presentation on the screen so I can share it, we'll just dive right into it. Thank you, Dominic.
Yeah, not a problem, Matt. Thanks for being here. Thank you everybody for all your patience. We're getting it loaded up right now, and then Matt's going to start. All right, Matt, we got you up and running. So when you need to switch slides, just let me know and we'll get you switched.
Okay, Dominic, can you make that more of a full screen mode?
Yes, we could definitely make it a full screen mode.
Cool. I think if you click that bottom right-hand corner symbol that looks like a projector screen, that should put it. There we go. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for the patience. I thank the Control Central team, but also wanted to thank the attendees as well. Everybody's time is valuable. Once again, my name is Matt Ingold. I'm the Eastern Sales Manager for Ritchie Engineering. Ritchie Engineering is the name of the company that we work for, or that I work for. It's been around since 1942, so 70 plus years. But I manage the eastern half of the US and Canada. And I'm a big fan of the Control Centrals group. We're going to be training / educating everybody on our YJACK and also P51 digital platform. Yellow Jacket / Ritchie Engineering has the most complete, call it, platform for Bluetooth HVAC tools. And all of these tools that we'll be talking about are made in the USA. If you could switch to the next screen, Dominic. All right, so the agenda, and this is a pretty quick presentation. It'll probably take about 30 minutes. And as Dominic said, at the end of the presentation, I'll be happy to address any type of questions that might be asked. So the agenda for this presentation, we'll first start talking about our actual digital manifold. We have 3 different kits, and we're going to overview those 3 different kits and the features and benefits. The YJACK series of HVAC Bluetooth probes. We'll talk about features and benefits of those probes and the digital manifold as how they pair together. We have kits for our YJACK probes as well. We have a Bluetooth refrigeration scale that all works on the same, call it, app. And the app is called the YJACK View app, and it's available both on iOS, Apple, and also Android. If you could flip to the next screen, please. So a couple features and benefits about our digital manifold to start with, and we'll get more into the Bluetooth probes. But this is the only digital manifold that's actually made in the USA. It is the only digital manifold that comes pre-programmed with every single refrigerant currently on the market. So typically competing digital manifolds, they come preloaded with roughly about 80, but there are 126 refrigerants. A lot of refrigeration changes are going to be happening with the equipment between 2023 and 2025. And all of those refrigerants that are currently approved are already on our digital manifold and also on the app at the digital manifold and all the accessories to talk to. It is the only digital manifold that has a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. And there's a charging cable that comes with all the kits. That's the charging cable right there. You can charge this digital manifold any place you charge a cell phone. So in the lighter port of your, if you're a contractor, of your contractor van, or your residential car, or just any outlet. On one full charge, the device will stay functioning for roughly about 80 hours. If you needed to do like a pressure hold test, let's say, on a piece of equipment for more than 3 days, or more than 80 hours, you could actually plug the device in or plug a battery backup into it. And while it's charging, it can perform whatever diagnostic tests you might want to do for that equipment that you're evaluating. It's also updatable. So if you were to buy a Yellow Jacket digital manifold, you'd really never have to buy another one again. Software can be updated. So if we come out with new accessories, and for those accessories to work with the digital manifold, all you would have to do is take your digital manifold. It will automatically pair to one's laptop or cell phone via Bluetooth, as long as the setting on your laptop or your cell phone is set for auto pairing. Or you could obviously plug that digital manifold into your laptop as well. You would go to our website and you would type in digital manifold, and our website will prompt the contractor if an update is needed. So I did mention that one reason to update would be if we launched a new accessory, but also as new refrigerants do get approved, if you wanted that new refrigerant to be loaded on the digital manifold itself, then you would just need to go to our website and upload that new firmware. Now the app that the digital manifolds and all the accessories talk to, that will automatically populate or update. There is no need to actually manually update the app. There's an external vacuum sensor that comes with all of our kits. That's very unique. All competing digital manifolds, for the most part, have the vacuum sensors built into the digital manifolds. The number one complaint about micron gauges or vacuum gauges and digital manifolds is that those micron gauges do get dirty. It's just the nature of them. oil and debris does get in them. Because ours is external, it's extremely easy to clean. A contractor can simply break the connection where the two, call it nuts, connect on the vacuum sensor. The vacuum sensor is that little plug-in portion right there that my cursor's going around right now. I guess my cursor's not going around because I'm not leading the presentation, Dominic is. But that vacuum sensor can simply be cleaned with mineral spirits. You would pour some mineral spirits in there. It takes about a minute to clean out. You would dry it and you go right back to work. Also, our digital manifold has the capability of logging entries, so a data logging capability. It can log up to 85,000 entries. Once you do 85,001, it just simply writes over the very first one that was written. The actual app that the digital manifold speaks to, and also the accessories speak to, it also has a data logger, and that's called data logging capability is really limitless. It's based on the memory of the gigabytes on that contractor's, call it phone or tablet. Next slide, please. Other direction, please, Dominic. Excellent. So this is our most popular and also most affordable kit. It's our legacy kit. We developed this digital manifold in this kit in 2018. Prior to that, we did not have a digital manifold. Yellow Jacket as a brand and Ritchie Engineering as a company, we manufacture probably about 9 broad categories. Hoses and manifolds / gauges are probably what we're known best for, and we dominate, call it the market share in Europe, US, and Canada in that hose, gauge, and manifold category. We have extreme market share right now with the digital manifolds, and we really we tote that as a reason because of the acceptance of called our analog gauges and also manifolds. But this digital manifold, all of our digital manifold kits, they all come with hoses. That's very unique. A set of 4 hoses, including a 3/8 vacuum hose, and they all come with backpacks. This one comes with that charging cable we discussed, the vacuum sensor, and also the temperature clamps. We like to think that the hoses and the backpack, which is a unique combination for our kits, it's about $150 value to the contractor. Next slide, please. And we have 3 kits. So this is the second kit. We kind of dubbed this kit our mini split kit. Mini splits have probably become more and more popular in the US over the past 10 to 15 years. But what makes this a mini split kit is the hoses. The kit itself is identical to the kit we just discussed, except these set of 4 hoses come with ball valves, and then we also include mini split hoses, and those hoses are 1/4 by 5/16. Next slide, please. This is our most premium kit right here. This kit and the kit we just discussed, the mini split kit, are identical, except now the temperature clamps in this kit, the Bluetooth, so the wireless. Next slide, please. So the 3 main features and benefits are advantages with our digital platform and also our YJACK accessories. Right here on the right-hand side of the slide, we have a picture of called residential house, our digital manifold. We have a picture of 2 temperature clamps, 2 psychrometer probes, and then that one called accessory that looks like it's in the middle of the house is called a path or a range extender. So these 3 primary features and benefits that are unique to our platform, the very first one is that there is no, call it, pairing needed between the accessories, the digital manifold, and the app that everything, call it, speaks to or links to. On a lot of our competing devices, you have to pair the products. With ours, as soon as you turn on a device, it'll automatically start talking to that digital manifold and also to the app, and also vice versa. This becomes a very real world, call it, advantage. Let's say you're a contractor and you're working at Mr. Jones's house and you forget something that you need for the job. You could run out to the local supply house, get what you need. As you're pouring back into Mr. Jones's driveway, everything will start to automatically populate on that app again. So once you leave, call it the bandwidth, and you come back into the bandwidth, everything will start talking to that phone or tablet again, and no information is lost either. Our bandwidth is another thing that makes our platform, it's the second thing that makes the platform very unique. All the competing digital manifolds initially have a bandwidth of about 400 feet. There is one competing micron gauge that works with a competing digital manifold that has a range of 1,000 feet. Our platform initially, between all the accessories, the digital manifold and the YJView app, its initial bandwidth, call it, is 400 feet. But that accessory that we call a path, or that range extender that's in the middle of that house, as soon as you turn one of those on, that initiates another 400 feet. A contractor could buy 6 of those paths or range extenders from a supply house. 6 times 400 is 2,400 feet of Bluetooth technology, plus the original 400. Now you have 2,800 feet of Bluetooth technology. That's over a half mile. Our bandwidth is 2 to 1, actually 2 to 2 or 3 to 1 greater than our closest competitors. We make the claim that if a contractor is using our network, no matter what size job, whether it be multifamily, call it housing, condos, apartments, hospitality, hotels, a large commercial job, which is a very large house, right? No matter how large that job is that contractor's working on, if they're using our digital platform, they're never going to lose connectivity. And then the last, call it, feature and benefit is the runtime on our accessories. The YJACK accessories is roughly about 1,400 hours. And for our competitors, the runtime on their accessories is about 150 hours. Now, our digital manifold is rechargeable. We discussed that. And obviously the YJView app, that's on a phone or tablet, that's rechargeable, because that's how you charge your phone or tablet. The accessories run off of 2 AAA batteries, and our competitors' accessories run off of 2 AA batteries. So AA and AAA batteries, they're very much called like battery sources, but we use something called BLE technology. All that stands for is Bluetooth Low Energy. Bluetooth Low Energy allows you to make the signal more robust and hence repeat it using that path, whereas regular Bluetooth technology you cannot repeat. So those would be the 3 really advantages. One, the bandwidth's a lot greater. The accessories last, as far as runtime, on one source of battery, about 10 times longer. Then everything automatically pairs and starts speaking to each other. If you could please go to the next slide. So we have 8 accessories. We really have 2 more accessories than any of our competitors. We have psychrometers. They'd be the 2, call it, accessories in the upper right-hand corner. We have two different temperature taking YJACK probes. We have a clamp, and we also have a YJACK strap. These are for superheat and subcool. The strap is for more commercial applications. It will accommodate up to 6-inch pipe, with a clamp will open up to 1 3/8 inches. The range extender, or the path, is directly in the middle. That's the middle accessory. Then to the left, above that little clamp meter looking device, to the left and up above that device is our pressure probe. Unique to our pressure probes is that we actually have an access port to it. So a contractor can charge through our pressure probes. A lot of the competing pressure probes out there, they don't have that access port. So all a contractor can really do is diagnose a piece of equipment. If he or she wanted to top that piece of equipment off with refrigerant, they would have to go get their manifold out of the truck and hook it up to the equipment. With ours, you can literally take your hose, attach it to our pressure probe, and weigh that refrigerant directly into the system. Then we have micron gauges. That clamp-like device that I spoke about, that's our YJACK amp. We are the only manufacturers of Bluetooth HVAC tools that have an amp meter. And then our newest YJACK probe would be the manometer, which you see in the right-hand corner. Next slide, please. So a couple other features and benefits. I already said a lot of these in the past couple slides, so I'm not going to repeat it. I will repeat the one as far as the bandwidth. We have over a half-mile bandwidth. You can link 6 of those repeaters of YJACK paths together. This slide says it's 2,400 feet, but really it's 2,800 feet because of the initial 400 feet of bandwidth that you did have. This is the only device, the digital manifold, and also the YJView app, that will tell a contractor if they installed a mini split or a BRF system correctly. And then lastly, the digital manifold itself is very rugged. Sometimes digital manifolds can give the impression of being not rugged or fragile. This one is anything but that. So it's a very rugged design. We drop test these from 3 meters and 9 feet, and there's no issues with them. So next slide, please. So now we'll get into the kits portion. We have 5 different kits. These are our legacy kits, and these two kits really complement the digital manifold perfectly. So the very first kit on the left is just a temperature clamp kit. It has your one repeater or path, and then two residential temperature clamps. And then we have a temperature and humidity kit on the right. It's identical to the kit on the left, but then you have your two psychrometers for doing return and also intake airflow. Next slide, please. And then these are our latest additions to our YJACK kits. These kits include our pressure probes. A contractor could buy one of these kits, and all these accessories would also speak to the digital manifold, but the pressure probes would be a little bit redundant. So the main purpose of a digital manifold is for pressure and temperature and charging that system, getting refrigerant into the system. But once again, because our pressure probes have that access port on the back of them, our pressure probes, when linked to the YJView app, really can eliminate the whole need for a digital manifold. And then really just those pressure probes and that phone or tablet become your digital manifold. So these three kits, first one to the far left is our charging kit. You have two pressure probes for the high and low side, and you have your two temperature clamps for superheat and subcool. Then you have a very complete charging and air kit where you have your two temperature clamps, you have your two pressure probes, and you have your two psychrometers. Then you have a charging and evacuation. So this kit is identical to the kit in the middle, the charging and air, but instead of having two psychrometers, you now have a micron gauge. Unique to our micron gauge is even though it's Bluetooth, it still has a readout screen on the device itself. So you could read it using the app or the digital manifold. Or you could actually just look right on the micron gauge and see what micron gauge you've pulled down to. Next slide, please. Dominic, next slide, please. This would be the last slide and then after this one, and get into actually the capabilities of the app itself. This is not called a YJACK product, but it does speak or talk to that same YJView app that all the YJACK probes in the digital manifold speak to. And this is our wireless Bluetooth refrigeration scale. It can accommodate up to 200 pounds of refrigerant. It's a nice big base, up to 12. It's 12 inches wide. If you were using this with the YJView app, a contractor, then when they're doing data logging and generating reports, can really capture everything for how much refrigerant they weigh into that system, to psychrometric airflow, to superheat subcool, to pressure temperature, to how many microns if you pull it a vacuum and all that stuff. Next slide, please. Next slide. All right, so there's four main functions or capabilities that the YJView app has. And this slide just gives you a very quick overview. And the next, I would say 8-10 slides, we'll get into more in depth of the overview. But the very first thing is we have an available device, call it setting. There's a setting where you can change the different types of, call it units of measurement or the refrigerant. So we have a settings session or app too. We have different sessions types that a contractor can perform, from pressure temperature to psychrometric to pulling vacuums. So we have 7 different session types. We'll talk about those. And then the very last slide will give you a quick rundown of how a contractor can actually generate a report. By generating a report, you can actually hand that to a homeowner or to a developer and show exactly what you did on the job. You can take snapshots using your phone or tablet. A good example of that is, let's say you were cleaning like an outside condensing portion of a piece of equipment. You could show it before and after it was cleaned and how much more efficient it's running now. Next slide, please. So this is a pretty quick slide, available devices. So as soon as you turn on these devices, everything from the psychrometer to the pressure probe to the temperature clamp to the digital manifold, as soon as you turn them on, it will automatically talk to the app and it will populate. If they're not on, you won't see it on the screen. And if you were to shut one off after it had connected, the one that's off will go red. So the ones that are blue on the picture right-hand screen, those are all the accessories that it's currently talking to. So those accessories are talking to that YJView app that would be on the phone or tablet. So there's a picture of one digital manifold, and you can have multiple digital manifolds talking to that same YJView app at the same time. But this picture just shows one connected, and then the other, call it other 8 items, including another digital manifold also connected. So the one not connected, the other one's connected. Next slide, please. As far as different types of settings, if you were to go to the right-hand portion of the app, there'd be a couple, like 3 little bullet points, and you tap on that, and that'll bring up the screen that you see on the right-hand side, and also which is highlighted also on the left-hand side of this slide. But basically, the different types of settings would be you can do a save screen setting, so you can actually take a screenshot of whatever test you are performing using the app, and you can drop that into the job report later. You have general settings as well, where you can change, call it units of measurement. So let's say that you say you're pulling a vacuum. If you didn't want to use microns, if you want to use a different type of unit of measurement, let's say bar, you could obviously change one unit of measurement to another. You can create a data log too. You simply hit create data log. Then a record button pops up and you start recording everything. You can change the refrigerants from this settings portion of the app as well. So the 126 refrigerants, it's very important that whatever equipment you're working on, you want to have the right refrigerant selected. And then let's say you're someplace like in Denver or someplace of higher elevation. Elevation can affect pressure and temperatures. So you can also compensate for elevation change in this portion. And the last one is that you can take a report or take a snapshot. These were the pictures that I was telling you about in the slide before, where you could drop into the job report. And we'll discuss the job report. That's the very last slide. But next slide, please, Dominic. So pressure and temperature, like I said, there are 7 sessions. So the first session that a contractor might want to try to diagnose a piece of equipment with is pressure and temperature. From this pressure and temperature screen, it shows system pressures, system temperatures, system saturation points, properties, system targets. And it'll also show you subheat and subcool. This is probably the most common session that a contractor will use. Next slide. So next slide would be with the psychrometers that I've mentioned. Basically, these psychrometers, they'll allow for return and supply airflow. It'll tell the contractor wet bulb, dry bulb, dew points, and also relative humidity. It allows for input of volumetric airflow as well for the system for cooling and heating. The psychrometers are really good. They do a good job of showing maybe how much more efficient the system is running, after the contractor did the work, if you wanted to show that to the homeowner than prior. Next slide. So this is the evacuation of pulling a vacuum. In this session, you can tell the digital manifold, or should I say the app, which will then speak to the digital manifold or to the micron gauge, the YJACK micron gauge that it's speaking to, what microns you want to have set as a target. And you would simply, on the slide on the right where it says 500 target vacuum, you could just tap that with your finger and you could program it down to 1 micron. You can make it up to 1,000 microns. Also, that same information is above, and that information above can be represented by a number. It could be an analog gauge, kind of how it is now, or in a bar graph. You can also do a hold test too when you're doing a vacuum as well. So once you hit whatever target microns a contractor might be trying to pull down to, you can then also ask the YJACK View app to do a hold test. And contractors typically like to do hold tests just to make sure they have a nice tight system. So next slide. So charging or recovery, this really deals with the wireless scale. Like I said, the wireless scale also talks to this app. And with our pressure probes, which is very unique, you can charge a system through our pressure probes where you can't with our competition. So you would simply take that refrigeration scale, as soon as you turn it on, it's going to talk to the YJACK View app, and it will record how much refrigerant you're weighing into that system. Next slide. You can do a leak test. So this is really important. When I mentioned about how our app and our digital manifold can tell a contractor if they installed a mini split or BRF system correctly. Basically, how a contractor would do that is depending on the mini split or BRF system that they're installing, different manufacturers specify different, call it allowable change, different pressure drop during this pressure hold test. And typically a pressure hold test for a mini split is a 1 or 2 hour test. And then a pressure hold test for a VRF system could be up to 24 hours. But you would simply pressurize the system with some nitrogen using either our pressure probes or the digital manifold. You'd pressurize the system to whatever is recommended by that manufacturer, let's say like 900 PSI. Once you pressurize it to the correct amount, you would then hit start. It'll start to perform the tests. If there's any pressure drop greater than the allowable drop or allowable change, then it will let the contractor know that in real time. Usually, if it does let the contractor know that there is an issue, it'll happen in the first 30 seconds to 2 minutes, because usually there's a leak somewhere in that line set, right? The contractor goes back, they would fix whatever the issue is, fix that leak, start the leak test again. Once it passes, that contractor knows that they installed the system correctly. They know that the homeowner is not going to call them up maybe a couple of days from now saying that the AC is blowing hot because some of that refrigerant has leaked out. So it's a really good way of avoiding that free service call to that homeowner. Next slide, please. So static pressure, this is with the YJACK manometer. It'll give a complete, call it view for a static pressure for both filters, coils, and duct pressure. It's a dual port manometer. They have magnets and it goes right onto the duct work. Next slide, please. So I did mention that our YJACK amp or our amp meter, that is a very unique Bluetooth device that only Yellow Jacket currently has. And this is a really cool device. You can actually make, with this amp meter, you can show the homeowner, or call it developer if it's a commercial building, the efficiency that the equipment is supposed to run at. And then you can actually show them how maybe you made the equipment more efficient. And I actually calculate the EER or SEER rating for that piece of equipment. And then next slide. So this is going to be the last slide before the question slide comes up. This is with the service report generator. So basically all those sessions, those 7 sessions that we just walked through, you can capture all on one service report. It's very easy to do. You can take screenshots of the different reports, the different sessions, and then you can also take, call it, pictures using your phone or tablet of the work you actually did, and you can drop those into the report too. It's pretty much all done seamlessly for the contractor. The only thing the contractor would have to do is the very first time they go to set up the service report, so that they would have to put it in their company's information. So it could be, Joe or Mary's HVAC, their address, all that will populate in there. You can actually take the logo of your company too and put that in there. Once you want to generate a report, you go to the left-hand corner of the menu screen on the app, you hit generate report. Everything, that report will be generated in a PDF. It gets sent up to the cloud and comes back. If you wanted to convert that PDF to a CXV, which is also kind of like an Excel document, one could as well. So one could select that option as opposed to a PDF. PDF is just a lot easier to read when it comes to actually printing it off and maybe handing it to that homeowner, or to that boss, or to that aide that might file these types of files for a company away. That's really it for the presentation. We're very proud of our platform, one, for all being made in the USA, but also because of the features and benefits that truly are demonstrable advantages that are that only Yellow Jacket or Rich Engineering Yellow Jacket digital manifolds and the YJACK series of products have. So at this point, we could open it up to questions if there are any questions.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll go ahead and read them off. I do have a couple questions for you, Matt.
Okay.
As far as generating the report, does that report get saved? Can you save it on the YJACK app, or do you have to save it on your tablet or on your phone, and you know, for future reference? Because obviously you have contractors that do multiple buildings, and so
Yeah.
they're handling these buildings consistently. So you'd want to save these reports so you can show them, you know, what their equipment was done previously. Is that information saved within the cloud or the YJACK app, or is it saved on your device itself that you're using that app
It
on?
can be both. So it is saved in
Okay,
the cloud, and that's just that's automatically going to be set up to save in the cloud, unless that phone or tablet is set up to not use the cloud. Okay, but yes, everything will
gotcha.
be saved in the cloud. And once again, the capabilities as far as how many reports can actually be saved, that is all based off of the gigabytes that that person might pay for on their phone or tablet service. So an example, I think I had like 50 gigabytes on my iPhone. I'm an iPhone guy, and I just had, I think I was like 99 cents a month. And now I pay like $1.99. I have 100 gigabytes. I just take too many pictures of my kids and stuff like that. But as long as your phone or tablet is set to, you know, to have whatever memory capabilities, then it'll be able to log or save however many reports that a contractor might generate. You could also, a lot of phones or tablets have, call it like Adobe as an app too. And that you can also save, you know, it's a PDF. So you can also save it, call it in that app feature on that phone or tablet as well. But good question. Hopefully I answered it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Another question I have is, you have a bunch of connected devices like a manometer, psychrometer, you know, vacuum gauge. Does any of this have to be calibrated? I know manometers, you know, you have filters and stuff within the manometer because obviously you don't want to get any debris or anything in there. What would need to be calibrated, if any?
There's no calibration needed for any of these accessories. They also all have 2-year warranties. So basically, if
Okay.
there were any issues with any of these products within the first 2 years, you can take them back to whatever wholesaler the contractor bought them from. The wholesaler would then send them back to us. We currently have about a 10 to 14-day return time. And that actually includes, call it shipping, right? So depending on where you're at in the US, we service all of our tools in Bloomington, Minnesota. So it's kind of centrally located to the east and west coast. But as long as you choose, you know, a day to 3 days as far as getting us the package, we'll get back to you within 10 to 14 days. We'll fix it all for free. Even clean micron gauges. Sometimes cleaning micron gauges can be an issue, but we will clean them for the contractor for the first 2 years. After the first 2 years, there would be a nominal fee for any type of repair or cleaning.
Yeah, that answers my second question. My third question you answered as well. I was going to ask you what the warranty period on it was, and then you went even to some more in depth regarding cleaning and servicing and whatnot for the first 2 years,
Yep.
which is fantastic. So, I mean, I see your products as definitely revolutionary, and we definitely uh, thank you for coming out and presenting this for us. And we thank all the attendees for your patience and bearing with us as we got the presentation fixed. So I don't see anything in the chat. So I guess that would be it. We do thank you, Matt, and appreciate all the time that you've given us and all the patience that the attendees have given us. And we'll talk to you soon.
Well, I really do appreciate it too. I'd like to close real quick also by thanking the audience, the attendees, but also the Control Central team. You guys are a really great ally, and looking forward to the remainder of this year and also next year partnering with you guys even further. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
You guys take care.